YouTube changed my life with 1000 subscribers. Sounds kinda ridiculous, right? A year ago I uploaded my first motorcycle video. An oversaturated POV ride that was so boring I could barely watch it myself. It completely flopped. But it was still the very first step towards my dream. I'd already bought a GoPro and some gear, so there was no going back. Let me take you to where it all started. So, why YouTube? Well, just a few months ago I was still a finance student at university, but I've always hated the education system. It never really brought out my full potential. After a while you see the same cycle over and over again. A new topic, lectures, a practice or homework assignment, and then a bunch of procrastinating. You stress the last few days and somehow still pass the final exam, and then you just do it all again. Even if I like the subject, it doesn't matter. I enjoy finance.
Hello, I like money.
But the education system just kills my curiosity towards it. It's not about learning, it's about chasing that grade, and once the exam is done, you just stop caring. But that's the problem. I wanted to care about something and I wanted to learn a skill and grow as a person. So I started reading, and that's when I came across the book Unfair Advantages. And the basic idea is that everyone has unique strengths and circumstances that can be leveraged as an advantage in business and in life. That's when I started to think about what I could do with the cards I was dealt in life. What can I do that most people can't? Well, YouTube was my answer. Because I've got the time, energy, money to start making videos. But most importantly, I've got a real passion, and that's motorcycles. And I've also got an actual motorcycle, so that helps as well. So with all that going for me, you'd think this would be easy, right? Yeah, not exactly. My second video was supposed to be simple. Just an exhaust sound video. Start the bike, rev it up a little, and hit upload. But I'm suffering from perfectionism and that did not help. I filmed it right here, but I didn't own a tripod, so I balanced the GoPro on a bag against a pole. It worked, but after that I watched the clip and I didn't like how I walked into the frame. Reset. The sun is hitting a little bit at the wrong angle. Reset again. Well, this time I didn't rev it hard enough. Reset again. You get the point. What should have been a 1-minute video took me a full hour for absolutely no reason. Because after all of that, the video barely got any views, and that's when it started sinking in. YouTube is really competitive, and have I ever watched a video from a channel with 0 subscribers, 100 subscribers, hell, even 1000? I personally can't remember, and that says enough. So why would anyone click on my video about a 5-year-old bike, even though it's my baby? Well, that thought stuck with me, and with summer right around the corner, I decided to take a 4-month break. Not that anyone noticed, I literally had 0 subscribers, and I even subscribed to myself at one point just to bump up the number. My best friend became my second subscriber, anything not to be stuck at 0. And yet weirdly, that's what made me keep going. Because if no one was watching, then it didn't matter if I messed up. I could experiment, fail, learn, without pressure. But here's the catch, without pressure there is no urgency to stay consistent, so I gave myself 1 year. Why exactly 1 year? Well, that was when I was gonna be done with my studies and I was planning on working full time. But the numbers and time weren't the only problem. On YouTube, hiding your face is a huge disadvantage. Sure, it is possible to grow faceless, and many people actually do, but people eventually connect with people and not just with bikes. You can have the best shots, the cleanest audio, but if viewers don't actually see you, it's way harder for them to connect and stay around. And I knew that, but despite that, I chose to stay behind the helmet. Why? Well, for the same reason so many other creators online stay faceless. You don't want friends or family to find your channel and judge you. Filming feels easier when you don't have to show your face, and maybe you just don't feel confident on camera yet, and for me it was all of the above. I've had stage fright for as long as I can remember, and every time I did a presentation on school my knees would start shaking like crazy, and that never really went away. It's not that bad on camera, but still my helmet became my safety net. With the visor I could finally talk like no one was watching, and that gave me the so-called helmet confidence. Still, I always knew the helmet couldn't stay on forever, and at some point it was gonna have to go. Because the truth is, I was sweating buckets every time I filmed, and even now it's getting kinda hot in here. But without the helmet I would have never started in the first place, and I actually bought this black visor specifically for YouTube. And honestly, there was also another reason. I didn't know what kind of commitment I was ready for. I've got a bad habit of starting something and then dropping it, so keeping YouTube faceless made it easier, treated just like a hobby at the beginning, and there was no pressure or expectations. When I finally came back from the 4-month break, I had a different mindset. I cared less about instant results and more about just improving at my own pace. So I started working on the basics. I started scripting parts of my videos so I wouldn't just keep yapping and then spend hours cutting it down in post. I also studied thumbnails, looking at successful channels, breaking down why people clicked and trying to apply that to my own thumbnails. Ironically, the only 2 thumbnails I basically copied ended up being my best performing ones, but getting people to click was only half the battle. Retention also mattered just as much, so I pushed myself to edit tighter and even started experimenting with color grading. It wasn't perfect, but each video started looking cleaner than the last. Of course, I was still refreshing YouTube Studio like it was a slot machine, and most of the videos still flopped, but I kept going, and every time I bought new gear, I told myself, well, now I just have to keep making new videos to justify this. Look at what I've got. I've got a lot of gear here, like I'm locked in. But this wasn't what actually started my momentum. Back in October, I tested the MT-07 2024 and I had been saving for over 2 years for this bike, and I loved it during the test ride, but just 2 weeks later Yamaha dropped a new and improved 2025 model, so I decided to pre-order it, and that move completely changed the channel. When the bike finally arrived at the dealership in February, I became the first person in the Netherlands with the brand new MT-07. I had been studying what worked for months and I came prepared. Up until then I was pulling maybe 20 views a video if I was lucky, but the first MT-07 upload, 200 views on day 1. 10,000 views in a month, and now it's sitting at 24,000 views. And from that moment I went all in on the MT-07. I had a whole list of videos I had been preparing for months, and I finally got to bring them all to life. This time people were actually clicking and staying, so I felt like I finally understood a little bit about YouTube. And then at around 500 subscribers, something absolutely crazy happened. I had my first sponsorship offer. A company called Corporate reached out to me, and after doing proper research, I accepted, and I low-key couldn't believe it. I thought it was a scam at first, but I actually got the product and make a video about it. That gave me even more confidence, and 20 videos later, less than 6 months after getting the MT-07, I hit my milestone which I was aiming for since day 1. 1,000 subscribers. It felt unreal. It wasn't even about the money, because trust me, it's not much and you can earn a lot more money doing literally anything else. But this channel showed me that I can achieve my goals if I actually set my mind to it. Real people were actually watching, and I want to be honest, it means the world to me, and that's why I made myself a promise. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'd finally take the helmet off. And now, here we are. So I'm Ichiri, I'm the face behind this channel. From now on you'll see me pop up here and there, but I'll still be wearing my helmet a lot because that's where my audio setup is. So why did I decide to review my face at 1,000 subscribers? Well, this is the point that YouTube is gonna pay me money, and that just makes it easier for me to continue doing this because I've been putting a lot of hours into this, and when you don't see anything in return, it's kind of difficult to keep going, especially to tell other people that I'm doing YouTube. It's just a little difficult. So what's next? Well, I've got a lot of fun videos coming. I've got an exhaust video, I've got a quick shifter video, I've got a motorcycle trip that's coming up, a track day with the MT-07. So there's a lot of fun stuff to do, and that's also why I decided to do YouTube. This brings out the best of me. Like, a track day is not something I'd necessarily do
without YouTube because there's just no urgency to do it, but now I can get views or something, you know? But before I wrap this up, I want to talk about you a little bit. Maybe you have something you want to do, doesn't have to be YouTube necessarily, but maybe it's just a dream, and I want to say just start, just take the leap. That voice in your head that's saying people are going to judge you, this is not worth it, that voice is lying. People don't actually care as much as you think they do. Even when I'm filming outside, you get a few quick glances here and there, but some people just walk past you without looking you in the eye at all. So it's really just you versus you. You're making this thing a lot bigger in your head, and it's scary in the beginning, but that's because you're just not that good at it. And there's a saying, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great, and that's really what kept me going. I don't know, I listen to these motivational things a lot, so that's what I use to keep me going, because it's kind of difficult. You're at 0 subscribers, and then for I think half a year I was at like maybe 20 subscribers, no money coming in, and now I get a little bit of money. It's not that much, guys, seriously, it's just enough to buy me some fuel. But it's really difficult to keep going despite all of that, and every video feels like your worth is determined by the views you get, but I don't really care about all that stuff that much anymore. I just make videos because I like this, I like to create something, and I like to share my passion with the world. And that's why I just want to say to you, just do it messy, just do it scared, but just start.
So yeah, that's my story. Hitting 1000 subscribers might not sound like much, but for me it's proof that if you can start and stay consistent, crazy things can happen. But for now, I just want to say thank you to every single view, comment and subscriber. It genuinely means a lot to me, and that's why I always respond to every single comment. Next up, 10,000 subscribers. And with that being said, as always, I hope to see you in the next one.